You can do a lot of cool stuff with onions. You can eat them, shove them up your back door, make onion soup, make illegal purchases, make onion rings. But you can't trade them. Onions have been the only banned commodity on Wall Street for over 60 years. And all because of one degenerate trader who almost nuked the entire farming industry with his devious trading scheme. The story begins in the 1950s when times were better. America had just won the international quickscoping event against Germany. Kids didn't smoke weird Chinese chemicals, they were smoking Marlboro Reds. Chronically online girls romanticized this era for good reason, because men were still real gentlemen.
Why is dinner cold, woman?
We're in New York and the man of the story is here. Oh, sorry, here. At only 5'4", Vincent Kosuga got height mocked by almost all of his peers. But ladies, don't you worry, because what he lacked in height, he made up for with the package in his pants. Because Vinny always walked around with a 38 caliber blicky and his billy club. The short king embodied the American dream. He worked his way up from a small onion farmer to owning over 5,000 acres of land. And eventually, he also found the love of his life, the beautiful stock market gambling. He was one of us. Vinny loved the thrill of options trading. While he did make good money as a farmer, he wanted more. But not even the $5,000 trading courses could save him. He was just an awful trader. His little habit got so out of control that the Kosugas almost went bankrupt, and they had to borrow money from family friends just to pay the bills. His wife begged him to stop trading.
Please, honey, you ruined this family.
Don't you dare speak to me, woman!
Yeah, dude, screw that whore. She doesn't want you to be rich, bruh. Time to hustle. After this minor setback, Vinny decided to return to trading. But this time, he had a strategy, and he focused on what he knew best. Onions futures were basically the crypto of post-war America. Back in the day, onions were harvested at very specific times, and the yields were heavily influenced by weather conditions, making them extremely volatile with big swings on a day-to-day basis. It was the perfect financial instrument for someone with a severe gambling problem. Onion futures were peak degenerate, but because of his work as an onion farmer, he had a massive edge over all other traders. Finally, Vincent had his redemption arc. But the profits were still not enough, so he dabbled in the dark arts of market manipulation. One time, he bribed a weather bureau to issue a false frost warning, causing massive price spikes even though the temperature never dropped below 50 degrees. But this was just a little troll compared to his 1955 scheme. Vinny was about to write Wall Street history. Together with fellow trader and partner in crime Sam Siegel, he wanted to corner the Chicago onion market. If they managed to buy up the majority of onion supply for a single season, they would be able to set whatever price they wanted. The plan was split into 3 different phases. Phase 1. They started buying up massive onion loads from all over the country and shipped them to their warehouses in Chicago. 30 million pounds of onions. At the same time, they were also buying onion futures on the Chicago exchange, giving them control over 98% of all onions in America. Phase 2. They arranged a meeting with the biggest onion growers of the country, making them an offer they couldn't refuse. They would dump all 30 million pounds onto the market if the farmers didn't agree to buy them back at a significant premium. During the negotiations, the 2 traders promised they would keep the majority of their inventory to stabilize onion prices. Vinny told the growers that futures prices would increase massively as a result of this deal. Apparently, he also used high-pressure sales tactics. The onion growers knew they were cooked. If they didn't strike a deal, onion prices would tank and they would go bankrupt. In the end, the farmers agreed to buy back 287 truckloads, or about 10 million pounds, expecting onion prices to rise by maybe 30 cents. And oh boy, they couldn't have been more wrong. See, the traders had no intentions of keeping their promises. Instead of stabilizing the market, the 2 guys secretly bought up massive short positions on onion futures, betting heavily on prices to fall. And in March 1956, they dumped the entire inventory onto the market. The effects were catastrophic. A 50-pound sack went from $2.75 all the way down to 10 cents, the lowest prices ever in the history of the Chicago exchange. Sam and Vinny ended the careers of thousands of farmers in America while making $8.5 million profit, which is around $100 million adjusted for inflation. It was easily the biggest anime betrayal moment in Wall Street history. The farmers were devastated and swore that this would never happen again. So a few big players met up with politicians and the CFTC began investigating Vincent and Sammy. The hearings began on November 14th, 1956, and the final decision was the death penalty. Just kidding, nothing really happened. They didn't even have to pay back the money. Vincent Kosuga lost his broker license and the two guys were banned from trading for a staggering 10 months. Vinny was filthy rich and ballin'. The farmers were furious. So to get revenge, Virgil Baldwin, a Michigan onion farmer who was blackmailed by Vinny, used his connections to then Congressman Gerald Ford to lobby aggressively for the ban of onion futures. The Chicago Exchange started bitching and argued that futures were essential for risk management, but the government didn't care. Congress passed the infamous Onion Futures Act, and on August 28, 1958, President Eisenhower made it official. To this day, more than 67 years later, onions remain the only banned commodity in the US. Well, besides cars too. But that's a different story.